know that I don't like to do this, so I'll keep this very short. But on behalf of my dad, I'd just like to thank the committee for nominating him, and it's a great honor. I want to tell you just a couple of things about my dad. In my opinion, of course, being prejudiced, I think he's the greatest coach that ever lived, but his record shows that as well. He coached track, cross country, and basketball for over 30 years. He also taught English in the school. He enjoyed what he did tremendously, and he enjoyed his athletes and he enjoyed his students. I think he taught me that it's more than receiving the trophies, but it's getting to know your athletes and getting to know their needs and getting to know them in a personal way. And I think he'd like you to know that even though you can achieve a great deal athletically and in the classroom, that the true champion is the one who knows the difference between right and wrong. The true champion is the one who will be willing to stand up for that and not be afraid to do what they know is right. And I want to encourage all of you that don't be passive when you're in high school, to go for anything that you can achieve, to dream big and to be passionate about what you want to do. I look out here and I see some champions that I know are champions, and I know that each one of you have the ability to do things that you never thought would be possible. So I want you to find out what you are passionate about and to go for that, and to realize that you can do whatever you dream. So dream big and always go after it. Thank you.
I should have said this before Coach Everhart came up here. His father's name was Abe Everhart. Abe is Sports Illustrated faces in the crowd for his coaching successes. He coached at Uniontown basketball for 29 years before retiring in 1976. His career record was 549 wins, 149 losses, with 4 WPIL championships and 2 state championships. His 1964 team was undefeated, and his teams once won 52 games in a row, a streak that still ties the WPIAL record. His Red Raiders won 21 section titles, and between the 1960 and 66 went 95-1. 95-1, that's pretty awesome too. Abe was still respected by everyone and by his beloved players. So thank you very much, Mr. Everhart, representing your father. Next speaker we have, and pardon me if I mispronounce your name, is Dr. Gail Humphries Mardirosian. She's a graduate from 1968 here at Uniontown. Gail is Dr. Humphries is the chair of the Department of Performing Arts at American University. She has taught and directed multiple countries, including Greece, Russia, Slovakia, Sweden, and the Czech Republic, where she was a Fulbright Senior Scholar at the Academy of Performing Arts in Prague. She is now in her 19th year as professor of theater. She has directed 101 productions to date, including musicals, senior serious dramas, the classics, children's theater, and cabaret performances. Dr. Humphries has also directed over 50 special events at famous national and international venues. Dr. Gail Humphries Mardirosian.
Здравствуйте. Как ты поживаете? Спасибо, хорошо. Добрый день, ahoj, prosím. Jak ви? Hase se tharistro. Gupta. Tak. Hello and thank you. Thank you for the honor of being here today. I just greeted you in the languages of the countries where I have done much of my work in theater as a universal language. None of us, as one, can save the world, but each of us must behave as if we can. That's a quote from Václav Havel, first president of Czechoslovakia and then the Czech Republic. He was a politician, a human rights activist, and something dear to my heart, a playwright. I was fortunate long ago and far away in growing up in Uniontown, PA, to have a teacher at Uniontown High School who embodied this outlook. She influenced my life deeply and affirmed my love of theater, as did my parents and my entire family. Thank you, Margaret Emerson, or as we fondly referred to her, Mrs. E. I doubt that my professional journey would have ever been the same without her, without my mother and father, William Carroll and Mary Humphries, as shining examples about the importance of the arts. I am still a small-town girl who values and cherishes my roots, although I have traveled the world teaching and directing theater. I've directed theater of the Holocaust in the Czech Republic on site at one of the Nazi concentration camps. In Czech, it's Terezín, in German, it's pronounced Dvorchak. I've lectured on the play Antigone in Delphi, Greece, and I've even seen these important words. I share them with you. Know thyself, etched in ancient Greek in the temple of Apollo at Delphi, 2,500 years old. I have directed and taught in Gothenburg, Sweden, Waynesburg, Slovakia, Olomouc, Český Budějovice, and Prague, Czech Republic, and at the University of London and Oxford, England. I've had amazing opportunities, and it all started here in Uniontown High School on this stage. I believe in the power of the arts as a universal language and as having the capacity to make a difference in the world. The arts allow us to think and explore the world in different and unique ways. I have enjoyed many honors, but I will tell you that they pale against the joy that I experience when teaching an acting class or when rehearsing theater with actors, and I've done this, ranging in ages 5 to 85. My professional calling in life is to teach. I do some work with sign language, and the sign for teach is this. And I love, of course, to direct theater, and again, it all started here at Uniontown High School. I had an amazing history teacher. I will never forget Mr. Power's class the Monday after Martin Luther King was assassinated. His comments were telling thoughts. And there were teachers who challenged me to think critically and apply creative problem solving. Mrs. Grote, Mr. Smith, who made Shakespeare come alive, and that wonderful Mrs. B. My advice to each of you is to truly seize the day, carpe diem. Take the most that you possibly can from each and every moment of your education here. Expand, grow, cultivate a practical imagination. Find something that you love. Go after it. The world rarely gives you things. It doesn't come to you. You have to go to it. Go for it yourself. Be smart, be astute, and hungry for experience and knowledge. A few more comments. If you came to a play that I directed, be prepared to walk away thinking, asking questions. Hopefully be provoked to action to change the world. If you're in a class that I teach, be prepared to take risks and challenge yourself to expand beyond boundaries that are comfortable. Do not be complacent. Do not be reactionary. Find the courage to initiate and take calculated risks. Be daring. Ask questions, seek informed guidance, and search for something that will allow you to be passionate as a professional. I do things in my career that fill my heart and fulfill my soul. Try that. There are more stories, and there are stories of joy. The ending of my speech is about a joyful story. The origins here on this stage. It's a short story. There are 3 parts. Try to stay with me. They bring my speech to conclusion. In high school, way back when, they announced the year, Mrs. E wanted us to compete in the Pennsylvania Forensics League competition. I agreed. Of course, I was in the drama division, but they had strange rules. You had to present 2 characters. You did both characters, and you spoke to yourself, in essence, which means I was speaking here, and speaking there as each character. I competed and won. And then Mrs. E said, the payoff. You have to perform this to your peers. And I stood on the stage and I performed it. I don't even remember how the students responded, but that moment in time, I was somewhere else, back in the playwright's world, Tennessee Williams' world of 1937 in St. Louis, Missouri, deep in the heart of the Depression, in the Glass Menagerie. Part 1, that's it. Part 2. Fast forward to Russia, nearly 30 years later. To a marvelous city, it's midway between Moscow and St. Petersburg, with the oldest theater in Russia. 1,000 seats, a magnificent huge stage. The dean of the conservatory and I planned in advance that our students would share scenes from plays. They chose Anton Chekhov's The Three Sisters. It's a play about 3 sisters who live in a provincial area of Russia, and they always want to go to Moscow, but they never do. We chose The Glass Menagerie. Only a few of us knew each other's languages. We performed in English, they performed in Russian. Then the Russian dean jumped up and said, in Russian, just interpreted, I have an idea. Let's put your English-speaking actress with my Russian, it was the English-speaking actor, excuse me, with my Russian-speaking actress. And we did it. So a Russian-speaking actress goes through the scene in Russian with the English-speaking actor playing Tom, neither one of them knowing the other's language, and with no rehearsal together. A bit of it might sound like this. Tom, yesterday you confiscated my books. You had the nerve to. Amanda. Ja esisla etoutsesja Roman Abanavan biblioteka da. Tom, house. Who pays the rent on this house, mother? Amanda. Yes me, Tom. No, I mustn't say anything. I've just got to keep quiet and let you do the talking. Amanda. Tweet. Tweet. It was an amazing scene. And it gave us full proof of the arts as a universal language. Part 3, final part. No one gives you a career. You develop and cultivate one. Never in a million years did I ever think that I would experience the Glass Menagerie in Russia, thousands of miles away from here. Create your own trajectory, and students, define your journey. Do that. Find what you love to do. Go after it with passion and reason and zest. Never give up. Give yourself roots, acknowledge them, and wings. And please, try to make a difference in the world. Спасибо хорошо.
I went to Slippery Rock, and then I came back here. I didn't do much travel. Thank you very much. Next speaker is going to be Dr. Ronald Sepic. Dr. Sepic was honored a high school student and athlete in 3 sports. He was a member of the 1962 state champion basketball team and 1962 WPIL champion football team. He was named to the Parade High School All-American Basketball Squad in 1963 and played for Ohio State University. Ron was actually drafted by the Washington Redskins, but chose to go to dental school instead and return to the Uniontown area. Because of my nice white smile, I owe this man a debt of gratitude. Dr. Sepic.
Okay, can you hear me? You know, I was thinking earlier when we came here, and first of all, I want to thank the committee for being selected to the Uniontown High School Hall of Fame. It's a great honor. You know, I was thinking 50 years ago, I sat out there where you all are. So that's how long it's been since I've been in high school. But in talking with Bob Dvorchak is going to come up, I was thinking, what can you tell some of the kids in high school where you are, and of course, where we are, what we can do to share with you to help encourage you to go on in life. And I just kind of thought I wanted to take you back to what it was like in 1955, 63 when I graduated from high school. And some of the things that were influencing factors in my life. Probably the biggest influencing factor in my life was my mother and my father. Now, we're second generation immigrants. My grandparents on my father's side came from Slovenia. Sepic was actually Sepic. They took the H's out. When they came to Ellis Island, they couldn't pronounce their name, so they just wrote down on the card how it sounded, and that's how Sepic came out. On my mother's side, they came from, on my grandfather and grandmother came from Italy, and none of them could speak English. The reason why they came to the United States was because this was a land of opportunity. And we're blessed to be able to be born in America today, and even back 50 years, 68 years ago. So one of the things that they kind of really instilled in me was you have to get an education. Education is important. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to college. But in those days, it was really big to get an education, listen to your teachers, study, do the best you can, and go on and make something, make a contribution to the community, to our country where we live. So, anyway, so they were very influential on me about going ahead and getting an education. Athletics just happened to be something that I really liked to do, and I was very fortunate. I was fairly big for my size in those days, being around 6'4", and I loved to play sports. So I used athletics as a means to get an education, to go on to college. Because my mom and dad, see, my father went to 6th grade, my mother went to 7th grade. My mother was one of 10 children, my father was one of 6 children. So it was very important for them to get their kids to become educated. So it's, like I said, it's not necessary if you go to college, it's whether you take a skill on to become an electrician or a plumber, whatever it is. The thing that they instilled in us was you have to get an education. The second thing that I did as a kid was to pick a good role model. And there were a lot of really good role models here coming through Uniontown High School. And I used to read books on great athletes and see what their life was like, what they did to make them become better athletes. One book that I read, and I would encourage all of you kids to read this book. It's very thin, and the book's called Never Quit. And it's written by a man by the name of Gene Cunningham. Now, Glenn Cunningham, his son's name is Gene, who I know personally. But his father is named Glenn Cunningham. Now, he grew up in Kansas in a one-room schoolhouse. When he was like 12 years old, there had been a meeting the night before at the schoolhouse. And in those days, they had a pot-bellied stove where they would put the coal and wood in and warm up the school so the kids could go to school. And so the night before they had the meeting, the next day, he and another young boy went to the school. Their job was to get the furnace going, more or less. Just think you kids don't have to do that today, right? Just turn on the switch. Well, anyways, somebody had left a can of gasoline on the floor, and they thought it was kerosene. So what they did, they threw the gasoline on the fire to get it started. There were some embers, which, you know, some coals from the night before. And what they did was it blew up, and he got burned his whole body, and they were going to amputate both his legs. Now, his parents didn't want it, and he didn't want it, obviously, and they said, well, he'll never walk again. So as I read through this book, I'm reading about it and saying, what makes this person want, today can you hear me? Today, we would go to the doctor, they do all these things, all this fancy surgery. Back in those days, they didn't have it. So they said he would never walk again. So, lo and behold, he learns how to walk. He lives out in the country. He started to run. And he became one of the greatest milers in the United States in 1935, 36, okay? He got a chance, he had the record. In those days they had big long spikes. They didn't have the fancy track, they had the cinder track, and he ran. And he got the opportunity to run in the 1936 Olympics in Germany at that time when Hitler was there just before the war broke out. He ran with the likes like Jesse Owens, there's a fellow from Connellsville that ran in that. He was a track guy, I can't think of his name now.
Blue Jack.
Johnny Woodward from Connellsville ran in those Olympics. So he runs in the Olympics, and I think he ends up winning a silver medal in the Olympics. But the reason why I'm bringing this story up to you is I got a chance to meet Mr. Cunningham. And when you look at people like this and you meet them, you look in their eyes and you can see the drive that's inside. And the thing I want to leave you with is never quit, whatever you start to do. And what you do it to the best of your ability. You pick good role models and you follow them. And there was a president that said one time, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And all the people before us and people here, that's what they've done. They've gone out to make a contribution to our country. And that's what I would encourage you kids. Don't expect it to be handed to you. You go out and you work hard, you apply yourself, become disciplined. Don't forget God, don't forget family, and don't forget work. Keep all those three things in balance, okay? And then you will seek the truth, and the truth will set you free. I want to thank you for letting me talk to you, okay?
Thank you very much, Dr. Sepic. Mr. Gerard, I know you're going to be very upset that you can't bring your guitar up here with Mr. Cantalamessa, but he's going to be our next speaker. Mr. Cantalamessa graduated in 1968. Chuck Cantalamessa is a guitarist, singer, songwriter. He was a Star Search runner-up and has performed nationally and internationally. Chuck has opened for Fleetwood Mac.
Collaborating with some of the finest musicians on the planet, just so gifted players. And just from constantly knocking on doors and believing in what in my heart I felt I needed to do, that's what took me to that point. When I was talking about performing on television appearances, the national and international shows that I've done, came one of my most embarrassing moments in my career. I was selected out of 20,000 auditions to perform on Ed McMahon's Star Search program in Hollywood, California, which Star Search was the front runner to American Idol and all the shows that followed. And on the first show that I was on, which I did 3 different consecutive shows of Star Search, the victory after the first show, I was backstage, I was so elated that I had won, and my manager and backer were back there with me and just jumping up and down. And I looked at my guitar from the back and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "There's something wrong." He said, "What?" I said, "The back of the guitar is totally gouged, scratched." And it's not this guitar that you see here. It was a custom-made Martin 12-string that he had bought for me that I really never ever took out of the case. And I thought, well, for Star Search and the visual, you know, you want to have something that's really presentable. So there I was looking at a guitar that had just a road map, because this part of my belt that had a tongue on it was a very, very sharp edge and had gouged the back of the guitar. And he said, we'll get it fixed, don't worry about it. I was kind of distraught. And so I was looking over the guitar and I had this bewildered look on my face. He said, what's wrong now? He said, I looked, I said, Kennywood's open. He said, what? I said, my zipper's down. He said, your zipper's down? I said, my zipper's down. He was saying in front of millions of people, my zipper's down. And he said, well, maybe that's why we won the show then, huh? Oh, God. If I had to say what my most momentous achievement was in music, it was that music led me to my wonderful wife, Natalie. She's not here today, unfortunately. And I'm just so blessed to meet her through music. I was performing in Florida one glorious evening that we met, and thank God for that opportunity. And with God's grace, by following my heart and believing in myself, I was able to follow my dream and realize my dreams. And how many out there take music? How many are in music out here? Okay? If you guys consider music an extracurricular activity, it can be so much more. You just gotta believe in what your soul tells you, and the drive in itself is really the motivating force to proceed forward. And after you graduate from this high school, you will find that the challenges will become steeper and steeper, but never insurmountable. And there will be many power struggles between pessimism and optimism. And when you're confronting obstacles, overcoming adversity is not always a given once that no-can-do defeatist attitude and mindset invade your conscience. I was taught to believe that it is all up here with attitude when you're wrestling with the odds. And I wrote this song to remind myself that it is all in your mind. And I apologize that there are no go-go dancers in the wings waiting today. Unless, I was going to ask Blaine Schiff, but he's with my son Connor down in Morgantown, dropping a pumpkin off of an 11-story building with Mrs. Vaccaro's class. So, but maybe Bobby Basil, if he's feeling brave, you can come up and give a hand at it. sometimes when you're wondering, could it be all in your mind? It's all in your mind. Illusion and retribution, the threats that only exist within your mind. Confrontation with imagination, never allow the dreams to get in the way. I have no doubt your faith believes optimism turns the key. Growing, learning, crashing, burning, break adversity. Whoa, whoa, changing attitude. I'm tangled with strings, with positive things, turning your luck around, get on the rebound. Like solving a crime through reason and rhyme, you're discovering it is only all in your mind. It's all in your mind. All in your mind. Thank you. Go Red Raiders tonight.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Dave Coldren, graduated from 1966. He is part of the Critters. Drummer, music teacher, band director at Waynesburg for 24 years. He owns a music studio in Waynesburg. Dave played with Bobby Earl Orchestra, the Drifters, and Carl Piccarello. Mr. Dave Coldren.
You would have to put me after Chuck. It's just, that's the story of my life. I'm the dinosaur. Thanks, Chuck. Love you too. A lot of people have said a lot of things up here this morning that I believe. And I didn't bring any notes with me because my wife drove me crazy. What are you going to say? What are you going to say? She sent my son with me to make sure that I didn't swear or anything like that. But yes, I graduated from Uniontown in 1966. It seems like just a mere 47 years ago. This is the first time I've been in this finished, beautiful auditorium. I've never been in the swimming pool over there. I have been down on the football field, and I have been in the band room since I graduated. I did the drum line here for a couple of years, a few years back. Now, I hate to say this, but I did Laura Highlands too. I know. Okay, don't boo me, don't boo me. Uniontown's always better, though. In my career here, I don't know why I'm even here. I really don't. When Tommy George called me, he said, "You're you're one of the candidates to be inducted into the Hall of Fame." And I go, "You sure that it's not indicted? I think you got the wrong word there." And he said, "No, inducted." And he says, "And I'm going to vote for you." And I said, "Okay, Tommy, whatever you want to do." And then he calls me back and he said, "You got it." I'm going, "For what?" I truly do not know why I am standing up here. I will tell you what happened to me in my life. You guys got about 12 minutes? How about 30 seconds? I can do this very quickly. I was not the greatest athlete here. I wasn't the greatest intelligent person. As a matter of fact, it only took me 6 years to go through this school. And it's a 3-year school. But when I graduated, there was a sigh of relief on Mac Zane's part. Oh, thank God he's gone. There was a lot of things that did happen to me, though, that were things that were important. One of the people that is being inducted that will not be here tonight or tomorrow is Orville Kahn. He was very important in my life. I had him as a band director when I was here at school, and he gave me opportunities to do things that were never given to anybody else. And I don't know what that is. But he did like me. And I was allowed to play on the mid-court at the Farm State Arena in Harrisburg when we went there for the finals in basketball, which 66, 65, 64, those were 3 very good years as far as sports go here. And I always tell people I'm from Uniontown, they say, "Oh, you guys always had great sports." Yeah, we had some pretty good music too. But, the sports were great here. And I played for all the football games. I loved that, like being in the band. Orville Kahn gave me that ability to do that. He put my drum set out in the middle of a football field one evening, and he played, the band played a song, and I got to play drums, and they carried the stand with my drums on, and I got a standing ovation for that, and I found that very neat. It was just unbelievably amazing. My dad, this is the first time I ever saw this too. My dad was standing over against the fence, and as I came off, Mr. Cohen put his arm around me and walked out. And I was always about this much taller than he was. And I looked at my dad. Tears running down his face. It's the first time and the last time I ever saw my father cry. Not even why your mother sent you. I've been very fortunate in my life. Bob Rumbaugh at the junior high school started me. I started when I was 10 years old playing drums in my mother's kitchen with wooden spoons and pots and pans. And I go to Grace. And she said, "We got to do something about this." And she got me drum lessons, and I took down the turntable in Uniontown. I studied with a man that did not play drums. He was a sax player. Okay, we move on. I had several teachers and wanted to play drums. And I said, well, when I get out of high school, I don't know what I want to do. And our guidance counselor at that time said, I'm looking at the transcript of your grades, and do you have any idea what you want to do in your future? I said, oh, I don't know. Something spectacular, I suppose. She said, how's the military sound to you? And in those days, that was like a dirty word, and it's not like today at all. And she said, you might want to think in terms of military as your next education. Well, I did. I enrolled in Penn State as an adjunct student. I graduated from Penn State in engineering. Now, I went back to my first class reunion, which happened to be the 15 years. And they said, why didn't you come to the first ones? I said, because I was a little bit ashamed, because I hadn't done all the things that you guys have done. A lot of them are teachers and doctors and all that kind of stuff. What do? I still play drums, though. That's one thing I did. And critters was an important part of my life, and so was Chuck. And I'm not a dinosaur. I'm just old. That doesn't mean me a dinosaur. They're extinct. I'm not. I'm still here. And I was very fortunate that my love of music didn't die. I went back to my first class reunion that I had on the 15th year, and they said, we know that you're playing in a band. We know you're a music guy. And I said, no. I design breeder reactors for nuclear submarines for the United States Navy. And they go, yeah, right. They didn't believe it. Went back to the next one. You still a nuclear physicist? I'm not a nuclear physicist. I am not. I'm still working. I worked at Fruoff Corporation. I worked for the Nuclear Navy. I worked a lot of different jobs. I've done drum lines all over the United States. I traveled with the Drifters for a year. We played down at the State Theater. I was a part of the house band, and we decided, hey, let's take that white guy with us. Yeah. So, okay, let's go. So I did. I traveled with them. It was fun for a year anyways. And it gets old. As I'm sure Chuck can run into. It's tough. But the thing is, it never died inside me that I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to play. So at age 34, I enrolled at WVU in the music program. I went to WVU. I transferred because I was not a state student and I'm paying for this education all by myself. So I transferred to Fairmont State. And I graduated cum laude from Fairmont State. Now, that is unbelievable in my thinking. Cum laude, I was destined, my destination was military in high school. And I ended up with a couple of degrees. This is crazy. What you've heard up here this morning is the very absolute truth, and I'm glad they said it before I did. If you have a thought about what you want to do with your life, don't think that's the last thought you want to have about what you do with your life, because that's not. I started out in one direction, I ended up in 4 different places, because I kept changing my mind. But it was always something to do with music. And then it dawned on me. You can be what you want to be. If you want it bad enough. My mother told me that. You can be anything you want to be if you want it bad enough. And I said, that's a really pretty good thing to live by. But I said, that's my mom, so I can't do that. My mother was very intelligent. My father was very intelligent. I was an only child. That made the dog smarter than me. But I faked my way on that. And, but I did have a love of music. So at 34, I went back to college and got a music degree. I thought I would never be a teacher. Not that I don't like teachers. They just didn't like me. But Mr. Kahn did. Oh boy, I really missed that man. I really do. I hadn't seen him in years, and when I found out that he was not going to be here tonight, it broke my heart. Truly, teachers can be inspirations. I ended up a teacher for 24 years in Waynesburg School District. My wife is not a music teacher, she's a special ed teacher. I'm her homework assignment. And she does a pretty good job at keeping me straight, keeping me going where I'm supposed to. So much that she sends her son with me. I've been very fortunate. I have two great children, two boys. One's right here. Stand up. Stand up. See, he's bigger than I am. He's 17 years old. He's a senior at the high school. He loves today because I got him out of school. My other son is 22 years old. He graduated from Bowling Green State University, and he studied in Japan for 9 months. He speaks Japanese fluently. He's working at the bank since he's graduated because he's waiting to get in grad school. And the NSA is looking at it pretty hard, so we're going to think about that. And maybe if they do that, they'll send him to a linguistic school in California. Right kid. It's on his mother's side. Absolutely, not on my side.
Of cardiovascular surgery at the UPMC Mercy Hospital of Pittsburgh and medical co-director of UPMC Mercy Heart Institute. He completed his bachelor's degree at St. Vincent College in Latrobe and his medical degree at Jefferson Medical College at Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia. He completed his internship and residency at the Mercy Hospital of Pittsburgh and a fellowship in cardiovascular surgery at the University Hospital of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Yes, he is a Wolverine fan. I just checked with him. Dr. DiMarco.
Thank you for inviting me this morning. I'm so honored to be here and have the opportunity to speak to you. I'm extremely proud to be in the inaugural class of this Hall of Fame. I guess to somebody it meant that somewhere along the line, I achieved some success. So how did that happen? As Stephen Jobs once suggested, you can't really connect the dots as you look forward. You can only connect the dots when you look backward. So I took this opportunity to look back at my life and connect some dots and to see what I may have done that made others consider me worthy of this Hall of Fame. I came up with 10 steps that I believe guided my life and brought me to any amount of success and happiness that I have. And I'd like to share those steps with you. The first step, and you've heard this as kind of a common theme from everyone that's talked, is to find a passion. That's not always easy to do. Sometimes you find the passion, and sometimes the passion finds you. Whether it's in math or science, the humanities or the arts, or the trades, find that passion. Once you find it, your efforts will become less tedious, you'll become more focused, and your efforts will become more rewarding to you. Recognize that you may find other passions in your life, as Mr. Coldren did, and don't be afraid to change. But stay true to a passion. Find an idea in your life, think it, dream it, and live it. The surest way to do great work is to love the work you do. Second step is set a goal. If you don't know where you want to go, you never get there. Make it a reachable and attainable goal. Sometimes you have to have a series of lesser goals that allow you to get to your ultimate goal. kind of like stepping stones. Know what you're going to do when you get to your goal. Remember that your goal isn't your destination, it's your starting point. Success is a progression, a realization of your predetermined personal goals. Number 3, have a plan. Action is the foundation of all success. To build anything, you need a blueprint, and that goes for your life as well. Define a path to achieve your goal. Don't be a wanderer. Stay on your path. Stay dedicated to your passion. If you stray from your path, get back on it. Know how to get back on it. Many times, finances are a big part of your plan. Don't make them the only part. Emotional support and encouragement are just as important. The successful person is the average person who has a laser-like focus. Number 3, be flexible. Success consists of going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Not everything and everyone will cooperate with your plan. Life experiences may make it necessary for you to have a plan B, and it's okay to have a plan B. But don't abandon plan A until you have a plan B. Don't fear failure. Failure can be a success if you learn from it. Number 5, keep money in perspective. Bob Dylan said that a man is a success if he gets up in the morning and goes to bed at night and likes what he does in between time. We all want to be rich, but don't choose a career based solely on money. Financial security is important, but accumulating money for its own sake is a trap. Money defines your happiness, you'll never be happy because there's never enough. Let achievement define your happiness. Don't strive to be a person of wealth, don't strive to be a person of wealth, strive to be a person of value. Number 6, diversify your interests. All work and no play is a scenario that's sure to burn you out. Work hard, but have things in your life that allow you to refresh and recharge. Don't let those diversions overtake and overcome what's most important to you, which is your goal. Keep them in perspective. Diversions and leisure times are great, particularly if you're able to share them with someone you love. As you get older, plan to retire to something, not only retiring from something. Number 7, probably the most important. Find a partner. Find someone to share your passion. It's tough to go it alone in the long run. Your partner has to be willing to sacrifice for you. Your partner has to be willing to give up more for you than you do, because it's rarely a 50-50 thing. Also, be okay with the idea that you may be the junior partner. Always appreciate your partner. No partner should feel that they've given up an essential part of their lives for you. Respect your health. The groundwork of all happiness is health, and the greatest wealth is health. You can't buy health, but you can invest in it. Get a doctor and a dentist, listen to their advice, see them regularly, exercise, think young. You have to age, but you don't have to grow old. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. Number 9, know a God. Have some kind of spirituality in your life, whether it's a organized religion or not. There's more to life than what you can hold in your hands. Take that concept and embrace it. Someday you're going to need to pray. Know how to do it. Prayer is aligning yourself with your God. And number 10, remember your roots. One's relationship to the heritage is the same as a relationship of a child to his mother. Nothing more gratifying than to know who you are and where you came from. It grounds you and it guides you. Always remember what you learned in this small town. You learned all about respect, the rewards of hard work, and the value of honesty. Treat your hometown with respect, and it'll do the same for you. It's not the honor that you take with you, but it's the heritage that you leave behind. Just ask any of these other inductees. So in summary, find a passion, set a goal, have a plan, and be flexible. Keep money in perspective, diversify your interests, find a partner, respect your health, know God, and remember your roots. Thank you very much, and go Raiders.
Thank you, Dr. DiMarco. Our next speaker is Robert Dvorchak, graduated in 1967. Mr. Dvorchak has been a journalist for more than 40 years and currently does special assignment reporting on sports and popular culture. He worked for the Associated Press for 20 years in Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, and New York City, where he is a national writer for the world's largest news agency. During the first Iraq War, he was a full reporter assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division in its invasion of Iraq. He has received a number of journalism awards and has authored 4 books. Mr. Dvorchak.
Well, it's great to be here. It's great to be here, but at my age and what I've been through, it's great to be anywhere. Listen, it's been 46 years since I sat in the same seats that you have, and I was probably thinking the same thing. Friday morning assembly, great, gets us out of class. Except you gotta listen to some fossil up here, go on and on. The last time I was on stage, inspired by Chuck Cantalamessa's music and Dave Coldren, and I think it was about right here, I jumped off and I did a full split, like James Brown. Don't worry. I'm smart enough now to know how dumb I was then. And I do believe that what we became is what we learned while they weren't trying so hard to teach us. Now, if somebody would have told me back in 1967 that I'd be a member of the Hall of Fame with such distinguished people, I would have said, I must have had a pretty good life then. And the hardest thing in life for me is to talk about that, but I did. And Dave, I wanted to tell you, my birthday is Christmas Eve. And it was always fun to wake up and open a present and get a sock. And then if I was good, the next morning for Christmas, I got the other sock. It was a great, great birthday. But I did want to tell you that it's not where you start, it is where you finish. And I'm the grandson of immigrants. I was the smallest of 9 children in my family. I came to Uniontown on a bus. I wore clothes from Gabe's and hand-me-downs from my brothers. But I studied here and went around the world to write stories. There couldn't have been any better thing for me to do in my life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. That trip would not have been possible without Uniontown, which is why I'm maroon and white proud to be up here today. The best lesson I ever learned here in school was born of failure. But hey, George Washington failed his first test right up over the hill here, and he learned from it too. Now what happened was I was put in advanced placement English as a sophomore. And just by my good luck, Earl Smith, the teacher, assigned us to do a paper for the next day. Well, my content was good, my grammar was fine, but the words didn't have any rhythm, any music, any soul to them. And he gave me a D. A D! Well, I rewrote that paper, tried again, and I got an A. And it just goes to show that you learn more from failure than you do from success sometimes. But from Earl Smith, I learned the beauty of the language. I learned to read the Greek philosophers, Shakespeare, the poets. And I know. Who in the world wants to read that blather, to be or not to be. Come on, make up your mind. But guess what? It pays off. It really does. Everything that you learn here at some point in your life is going to pay off. Now, my life-changing moment happened right down the hall here. And it was near graduation, and the guidance counselor, Helen Hinsey, called me into her office. And I said, oh my, I'm busted. What did I do now? Circumstance was I had earned an academic scholarship to go to Penn State. She said that the Uniontown newspaper was looking for somebody that was good at English, that was going to the Fayette campus, and could work nights. Well, that was me. They were paying $1.40 an hour, and the Sunoco station up the road was going to pay me $1.50 an hour, but it was only for 3 months. Now, I could have stayed in the oil business, but I chose to write for a living. I found something I loved, and that's what I did my entire life. So I want to say to the teachers and the administrators here, and the coaches, you may never know what impact you're going to have on one of us, but you do. So I want to thank you. And I want to thank the committee for including me in this August inaugural class. I also want to say, there's one thing I can say to you. Don't follow in my footsteps. You'll end up in a minefield of wrath. And you'll appreciate each day and each breath you take afterwards. Don't follow in my footsteps. Make your own road. Create your own path. If you follow the crowd, you only go as far as the crowd will take you. But if you break away, you're going to go places nobody's ever been before. Now, like the poets say, don't be in any all-fired hurry to grow up. But when the time comes, seize the day. Fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of honest effort. Gather rosebuds, but don't forget that every rose has a thorn. It's wise to plan, but the best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. A ship in port is safe, but that's not what ships are made for. A person's reach should exceed one's grasp, or what's a heaven for. Now, a writer never sugarcoats. It takes hard work and determination to make it. It's more perspiration than inspiration. People tell you this all the time. Study hard, learn, strive to be happy. Your journey is one of discovery. But every journey, no matter how long, starts with a first step. And I consider Uniontown my first step. Know thyself. To thy own self be true. Shoot for the stars, and even if you fall short, you're still among the heavens. In the end, the pauper and the monarch end up in the same boneyard. It's the journey, not the destination, that defines. Every generation has challenges, and we left you a whole slew of them. Don't shy away from them. Embrace them. Embrace them. The only real failure in life is not trying. Whatever you do, do with passion and fire. Climb mountains. Dream the impossible. Stand up for yourself and what you believe. Each of us only gets one life, but if you do it right, one is enough. And it's going to be what you make of it. The world doesn't come with a welcome mat. The world doesn't take excuses either. But the world awaits you, Uniontown. Show it what you got.
Our last speaker this morning is Gene Huey. Gene was a three-sport letterman in football, basketball, and track. He was a member of Uniontown, Pennsylvania 1964 state championship basketball team. Gene started as a wide receiver and defensive back at the University of Wyoming during 1966, 67, and 68 seasons. He co-captained the 1968 Cowboys and played on 3 Western Athletic Conference champions during championship teams. During his career, he set 13 UW receiving records. He was also named Sports Illustrated Receiver of the Week. He is the only player in WAC history to win all conference honors on offense and defense in the same season. Gene was inducted to the Wyoming Sports Hall of Fame in September of 2009. In 1969, Gene was drafted in the 5th round by the St. Louis Cardinals. He played several years for the Minnesota Vikings and the San Diego Chargers. His coaching career started in 1971 in Wyoming, his alma mater. He has coached at New Mexico, Nebraska, Arizona State, and Ohio State prior to coming to the Indianapolis Colts in 1962. Gene was a running back coach for the Indianapolis Colts from 1992 to 2010. He retired in 2010 after serving under 5 head coaches. His 19 years with the organization, over 300 games, made him the longest tenured coach in the history of the franchise. Under Gene's supervision, Marshall Falk, Edgerton James, Dominic Rhodes, Joseph Adai were all 1,000-yard rushers in their first year in the NFL. Gene and his wife, is it Diane? Sorry. Reside in Indianapolis, Indiana. They have 2 children, Laura and Aaron. Gene Huey.
Sitting out together with the board, long speeches, and we're all winning. That's actually a little older. But just bear with us for a few more minutes and then we'll get you out of here. But I just want to thank the principals here. This is Sepic, I hope I pronounced his names right, Mr. Mangus, and certainly Dr. Macheski and Mr. Scott for having us here today. And a really heartfelt gratitude for Tony Mercandenning, Rich, Mark, these guys starting this initial and inaugural Hall of Fame, which will place a lot of very important people who've been in this high school in all areas, sports, literature, whatever it may be. But we would all not be here today if it weren't for the people like Joe Everhart spoke about, his father Abe, certainly myself and Lee Countenbaugh, where I got a chance to go to Wyoming. Wyoming was the only Division I school that I was offered a scholarship to when I left here in 1965. I had small school offers, but Wyoming was the only one. So I had no choice. I asked for a visit. They said, we'll get around to that later, so they knew they had me. But 5 of us, or 6 of us, came out of this high school, went out to Wyoming, including Coach Fortuna at one time. Bucky Edfield was out there. Nelson Muncie, who was my roommate of the Muncie family. All 3 of those Muncies were great athletes out of this high school. All 3 of them died at really an untimely age. Heart disease, things that Ross was talking about, taking care of your health. But we had some great times here, fantastic times. There have been some great people here that were role models. Now I know Ron is only just a few years older than I, but Ron Sepic, and the way he carried himself in this town, in his career, his profession, and the things he did and continues to do, were certainly a mentoring effect on me as a younger guy. I don't think we're about 2 or 3 years younger, but great leadership here. He, Pete Smith, Don Yates, my cousin Ben Gregory, who played ball here, graduated a year earlier than I did in '64, was a running back coach at the University of Colorado, coached a Heisman Trophy winner, coached a guy named Lamont Warren, who I coached with at the Colts. So I've had a great, great career, and I would not have had this career if it was not for God's grace and mercy upon me coming out here. Mr. Coldren, or who was it, mentioned, of course, mentioned about going to Gabe's. You don't have any monopoly on that corner. We all been to Gabe's and shop there. What a great place to go. But I just want to take a few things, just to remind you of some things that happened to me. And they primarily have to do with people who were in my life in this town. Coming up 51 this morning from Pittsburgh, I spent the night with Steve Peterson, who's the athletic director at the University of Pittsburgh. He and I have been great friends for a long time. Introduced me to my wife. We have 2 kids. And Steve and I worked together in Nebraska, so this is second time back here in Pitt. But coming up, I see that steam shovel still down on 51. Mr. Tire statue is still down around 51. Because I'm home. But usually I can see the cross at Jumonville coming in on 43. And you look at that mountain and you say, go home. I'm back home. And a lot of times I've been back here in October, the month of October, and both times my parents died in the month of October, so I had to come back here for services. I had to go up to Ohio Powell to talk to her. You know, some things I just want to share with you that had an impact on me. One is honesty. When I was a kid, my grandmother raised me. My mother had tuberculosis. This is not a pity story, believe me. Single parent, and it's not pity. You learn, you adjust, and you go on. But my grandmother raised me over off the Penn Street there. And there were 3 of us there, plus her 2 brothers who worked in the mills and coal mines, and some foster kids were in the house. And we slept on the floor all throughout grade school. I attended Elk Beach or Central, then went to BF for half a year. Then I went out to Fairchance, Georgia's, and I met Joe and George Sepic long before I met Ron Sepic when I attended school out there. Coming back in to Lafayette in 9th grade, and coming down here for my last 3 years. I remember as a kid in grade school, I went into my grandmother's little chest of drawers, and she said, go upstairs and bring me down some money. In those days, old folks rolled money in little cardboard wrappers, whatever. And they also knew how much money they had in those drawers. Well, I go up there and I'm looking in that drawer and I thought I found King Tut's tomb. I saw all these dimes, quarters, nickels. So I thought what I was taking was 50 cents worth of pennies. So I took them and I put them in my pocket. I stole them. So I go down to a house next door that was abandoned. I look in the pocket and here are those that I thought were pennies, $5 worth of dimes. I was mortified. I thought, how am I going to get rid of all this money? So I took it down to grade school, Elk Beach, and I was giving money away, buying cookies, crackers, milk for everybody and everybody who wanted something. I got home a couple days later, come home from school, my grandma said, come here, I want to talk to you. So she put me between her knees and squeezed me with her knees and said, hey, did you take some money out of my chest of drawer upstairs? And I lied. I said, no, I did not. I'm not going to punish you, just tell me the truth. And I did. But what was so funny, and I have to back up a little bit, I was trying to get that money back because I realized that I had taken something that didn't belong to me, and I was, like I said, petrified about it. But she slept at night, and my grandma was kind of a buxom lady, and she was on her back, and I know she kept that key in her bosom. I'm lying on the floor thinking, how am I going to get that key to unlock that thing and get that money back before she recognized I had it? So in there, I went up and I'd see that handkerchief attached to that key, and there's what it looked like. She had that key on the end of this handkerchief. I thought, if I could just get that handkerchief back and take that, I can get that money back in the deal, but it never happened. So that taught me a lesson. I was a freshman in college in Wyoming. I was sitting at my desk studying one night, and remorse hit me. I started bawling like a baby of what I had done. But she forgave me, so life goes on. But that taught me a lesson about being honest. The other thing was dependability. Ruth Dunn, who was our 6th grade principal and teacher at Elk Beach, hired me. She didn't hire me. It was my job on Fridays to clean the slate board and dust the chalk off the erasers in the cloakroom. So I did all that. I'd go back and forth over those slate boards until they became real clean. There were no streaks allowed. You couldn't have streaks. So I'd clean those things, and at the end of the time I was working on it, I'd get down to the end of the chalkboard. It was all clean. And then I would look there, and on that chalkboard was a dime. And she would leave a dime there for me every Friday. And I'd take that dime, and I'd go to G.C. Murphy's, and I'd buy 2 cents worth of cookie crumbs. I had 2 bags leaving out of there. I had kept the 8 cents, and I thought I was rich. but that's what I would get on a Friday. I also was in charge of cranking up the air raid siren in the Cold War days, and little did we know if a nuclear bomb dropped, getting underneath the desk and pulling down the blinds wouldn't save you. But I took that dime when I left the Colts after 19 years, and I was the longest tenured coach in the franchise history of the Colts in 2010, which I retired. And I left that dime on the end of that chalkboard for the next running back coach. I didn't talk to him for a year. And I saw David after one of the Colt games, and I said, hey, did you get that dime I left for you? He said, yeah. He said, what was that about? So I related that whole story to him about Ruth Dunn and being dependable. And that's why she chose me. She knew I'd get the job done. Accountability. I had a paper out that was over off of Ray Street, Philippi, P Ridge, all that area. I sold the Pittsburgh Press, and on South Street I had the Pittsburgh Courier up into East End. Love that route. I took Chuck Cantalamessa's paper. I'm sure I took some other people's newspaper on Sunday. I would take that cart across town, stop off at Boyle, pick my papers up, and distribute all over the hill. I had Crackers Wilson, the fire chief. He was on my route. Lee Countball, former head football coach here, he was on my route. Al Grandy, who got Chris Plus and I in Dave Zabrowski, plus lumber. Our summer job was working as janitors over at Rockwell Meters. And Al Grandy would take me around if it was raining after church on Sunday so I could distribute my papers. His daughter called me when I was out in Nebraska visiting a friend one time. It was raining. She said, Gene, she said, my dad died. So I thought back, boy, the day he picked me up and I had that, get my papers done, it was raining. The day he dies, and it was announced to me it was raining. So that was accountability. I shined shoes down South Street for Kelly Wilson. And it humbled me, I had to clean those spittoons up, and they chewed the back and spit it on. You have to clean them up every night, scrub the floors, do what you have to do. But that was accountability. Courage. I worked up in the mountains. Jim Cunningham, an All-American, Hall of Famer from Connsville, PA, went to Pitt. Jim was my boss when I was a kid. And that road, right after the Summit Hotel, we went back up in the mountains and did things on roads and everything. And Jim was the foreman. You'd load up your sandwiches and you steered it all day long. Well, one day I was on a backhoe. I had gotten my scholarship offer to Wyoming. I was on a backhoe up there. And the guy was teaching me how to run it, but I backed over a large boulder, and behind me was a flatbed truck. And if I had not, through football, innate ability, I guess, and just feeling of things as an athlete, had I not jumped up in the air, the back of that backhoe and that flatbed truck would have come together and crossed and would have crushed my ankles. I probably never had a scholarship. I jumped down on the ground, and a guy named Red, he says, hey, get back up there. Get back up on it. So it taught me a lesson. When things like that happen, don't be frightful of them. Have some courage, go back and do it again. Frank Solich, Ohio University, head football coach, and I were coaching one time at Nebraska, where I spent 10 years. My cousin, Ben Gregory, out of here, he also played in Nebraska, and so did his son, Morgan. So three of us had connection with Nebraska. Frank and I were flying around recruiting in Learjet. The Learjet landed in the Quad Cities, and I heard the pilot and the co-pilot very anxiously talking in the cockpit there. The plane shot off the runway. I got up and I didn't have my glasses on. I'm trying to read the emergency exit. I said, I'm going out first. I'll tell the parents I tried to save their sons. I'm getting out of here. But you guys are tired, you can laugh at that one. But anyhow, so I go back to Lincoln, Nebraska, and then it gave me the courage to get back on that plane again to come back and recruit for what happened to me up in the mountains years ago on that backhoe. Then there's persistence. I was student teaching in Cheyenne, Wyoming, just east of Laramie one year. So I go to a guy's house to rent an apartment. It was a detached garage. And the elderly couple, so I go into the house and I said, listen, I'd like to rent you your apartment. He says, you know, that'll be fine. And so I came back the next day with a deposit, then he changed his mind on it. But they were elderly and older, and I knew usually 6 or 7 o'clock they're in bed. So I said, I'm not leaving until I get this apartment because they first refused. I took care of that apartment, and he told me at the end, he said, Mr. Huey, when he came back to do a white glove at the end, He said, you gave me back my apartment better than I gave it to you. And that's always stuck with me. Do your job to the best of your ability and don't take the shortcuts. One night, Frank Wright was a quarterback coach of the Colts with Peyton Manning, and I was doing my little segment of the game plan. He said, oh, don't worry about it, just leave it like it is, we'll get it tomorrow. Well, I wasn't too computer savvy, and it took me a long time to get things done. I was always seemingly the last guy to get out. Not that I was working hard on anybody, just it took me time. So I always stayed there until it was done. It's perseverance and being accountable. Compassion. You know, do they still have the band ramp down here behind? Where you come out, the band room? That ramp they had here? Used to have a ramp here behind the school here on the side, and the band would come out on the field. And that band went to the Rose Bowl in March one year. How proud it made this city and community. There's a guy named Orange English, who people refer to as the town drummer. And he fell off of this. I know, you laugh. Watch this. He would, yes, be inebriated a lot of the times, but he was a harmless man. He'd walk around with a corncob pipe in his mouth, half lit most of the time, or completely out. And he was intoxicated one night, and he fell off the wall back here where the band room was, and killed himself. I remember coming up across the lawn, and I asked one of the cops, I said, who was that? He said, oh, that's just old Orange English. And I thought to myself, that's not just old Orange English. Yes, and he referred to him as the town drummer. Now think about this. In this day and age, when people have drive-bys, when people beat up on defenseless people, and those kinds of things, nobody ever bothered Orange English or rolled him or stole money from him or anything like that. So when he died, it made me feel like I lost a little bit of that safety net. Because while he was alive and walking around, everything was good. But now he was gone, and the guy said, I was just a drunk. He wasn't a drunk. There's compassion you have to show and have for people. And I'll give you a better one. Mr. Massey, who lives over on Pea Ridge, his family's still over there. He was one of the custodians here at the high school. I had his paper, took his paper every day too. He loved to talk sports. So you come down Daniel Street. Anybody here live on Daniel Street or over in that area? Nobody? All right, geez, so this. Anyhow, Daniel Street, a lot of Italians live there. So I'd have a meatball sandwich at the top. I'd have the salad at McCosey's house. Then I'd go to Mr. Massey's house and eat the whole spaghetti meal before I continued on my paper route. And years ago, I was back in town, and his son Gerard said to me, he said, gee, my dad used to stand here watching for you in that wagon coming through the snow and the slush. And he would say, Gerard, I want you to go back into that bedroom there and get a pair of my clean white socks for Eugene. I was Eugene in those days, and Gene now. And I sat in that kitchen, boy, tears welled up in my eyes. I thought, here's a man who showed some compassion for me, and I didn't even know at the time. But those are the kind of things that influenced me while growing up here in Uniontown. And last of all is faith. I know a few guys hit on this. I worked for Tony Dungy. You all know who Tony Dungy is. Tony went to the University of Minnesota. My mother passed away, and Tom Osborne, who had worked for Nebraska, called me when I was coaching for the Colts. He called me, we were talking on the phone, he was offering his condolences. He was telling me about Tony Dungy, and he didn't know Tony at all. And Tony was a freshman. And if you hear Tony talk sometime, or you YouTube it, like I did the other day, I just came across it, he says, hey, Tom Osborne was a great influence on me. They're both men of great character, strong faith, and mentors. So Tom said that to me, he says, I've never met Tony. So at the same time, Tony was walking by my door of my office, and I said, hey, Coach Osborne wanted to talk to you. And when Tom said something to me about he'd never met Tony, I said, Coach, that's not true. I said, every morning that you get up and look at yourself in the mirror and you shave, you're seeing Tony Dungy, because they're one and alike. And I had the privilege of working with two guys like that, who were strong in character and faith. And I'll leave with this last thing. I was here several years ago, and I was sitting in the hotel over at the Hampton Inn, and Charlie Rose was on. He was interviewing Arnold Palmer. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning, watching television. And he said, Arnold, he said, you know, everybody knows Arnold Palmer is, I hope, great golfer from Latrobe, still lives there some of the time. He says, what is it? He said, a lot of guys, they become famous and they move away in other parts of the country, what have you. He said, you know, he said, Charlie, I'll tell you this. He said, a lot of people say that I am from such and such a place, or I am from Latrobe. And I say to you this morning, it's been a joy to be here, and hopefully it won't take too much time, I'm not from Uniontown, I am of Uniontown. And I appreciate it very much for you to sit up here through all this morning and listen to us and so forth. And one last thing, can you come up for 1 second, lady? Come on, I'm not going to put you on the spot about anything. Please. You can come up, yes. I spent some time in the library when I was here, most of the time just talking to girls and listening to their problems. But Mrs. Francis was here when I was in school. When I was in school in Wyoming also, she used to write me letters of encouragement and encouraged me to take certain subjects and different things. And I treasured those letters, and I still have them. Now, I know Mrs. Baker is a librarian, right? Would you give this to her and tell her I said thank you? Thank you for delivering it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Huey. I didn't forget anyone. Did that for you? Got everybody, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I want to thank some of the inductees for this evening. You guys have been a very attentive and very good audience. I appreciate it. I know Mr. Mangus, Mr. Dvorchak appreciates it. Hopefully you took something from all these wonderful people that spoke this morning. Hopefully you're there at the game this evening to see the rest of the inductees. I want to thank you very much for coming. I guess we're going back to second period. Over to Mr. Mangus.
Tangled between negative things, wrapping your soul around and holding you down. I try to define what's hard sometimes when you're wondering, could it be all in your mind? It's all in your mind. Illusion and retribution, ignorance that only exists within your mind. Confrontation with imagination, never allow the dreams to get in the way. No doubt you faithfully, optimism turns the key. Growing, learning, crashing, burning, break adversity. Whoa.